There's big changes coming to the overall weather pattern, but it's going to remain active here from the Central Plains to the East Coast with lots of storm systems, including heavy rain and flooding to bring impacts there. In this video, I've got the details not only on the active pattern ahead for these zones, but I've also got information on temperature tracking, so stick around for everything.
One Nation Weather.
Thank you so much for joining me here at One Nation Weather. As always, many of the maps in this video model-wise are from WeatherBell, so check out their free trial link right down there in the description. Also hit the subscribe button so I can continue to deliver consistent, accurate, and easy to understand forecasts for you if you have not hit that button already. Let's get right into it. After a very active week, it's obviously a good idea to keep people in your thoughts who have been impacted by some recent tornadoes. Got a little bit of a break here as we head into the weekend, but we've still got some showers and storms that are going to impact parts of the Great Lakes with a little low-pressure system moving through the upper levels here through parts of Wisconsin, Michigan, parts of Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York. Those are some of the main states getting impacted. Late Saturday, May 11th of 2024 here. A little bit of cooler air in the east. Just had a little bit of troughing going on there, meaning some cooler air on the polar jet stream moving on down. Meanwhile, that area I just circled back on over here, moving out of parts of Colorado, New Mexico, into Texas with very high elevation snowfall there in Colorado and rainfall into parts of West Texas and New Mexico. That's going to develop a little bit further here as we head towards our Sunday. Both late Saturday and late Sunday will pose a brief threat for some afternoon severe weather here as we head through parts of especially Texas, but maybe even into Oklahoma and Kansas on Sunday. Most of these storms only bringing a wind and hail threat. An isolated tornado cannot be fully ruled out. Just looking like we're going to see some active conditions certainly over this region, especially as we head towards Sunday. Moving towards Monday, May 13th here of 2024, you can see this little cold front here sitting from parts of the Great Lakes, really through southern Michigan, the Detroit area, late day Monday, back down to southern Nebraska. Doesn't look like much, but it's actually going to be suppressing this low pressure area here that I'm circling now down here from parts of Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, all the way back down towards the Gulf Coast where some thunderstorms may be on the stronger side down there on Monday afternoon. This system is really going to be kind of hidden from the upper Midwest just because of that little piece of energy bringing the scattered showers to the Great Lakes. That's kind of suppressing this low pressure system, keeping most of the heavier storms certainly down closer to the Gulf Coast regions. Here we go towards the Tuesday afternoon time frame, looking like showers covering really a region from especially Illinois back down to Mississippi. So really the Mississippi River Valley heading eastward from there. We're going to have a lot of rainfall, really just a washout for especially parts of the southeast and on up towards the Ohio Valley, even some parts of the northeast as we head through Tuesday. That will last into early Wednesday here closer to the East Coast. Then we've got this area I'm circling here as we head towards Thursday, May 16th of 2024. This next piece of energy that's looking like it will initially stretch from parts of the upper Midwest back down to Texas with maybe some storms late Wednesday going into early Thursday. It's a little TBD exactly where this is going to be bringing impacts as we head towards the end of the week. European model suppressing this storm on its own down here towards parts of Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama with a lot of that energy as it heads east back through the southeast, basically like what our early week system will have done. Again, it's to be determined exactly how that flows. And let's look at an ensemble collection or a collection of models surrounding the GFS model here to kind of give you a look at what's going on low pressure wise and where storm systems will be as we go throughout this week. Starting Sunday, May 12th, 2024, again, showers and storms associated with this low pressure system will be going here from parts of Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas late in the evening here. All those little L's on screen are where individual models in this ensemble collection are showing low pressure systems sitting, and you can see we've got at least a weak low pressure system being indicated by this collection here as we head towards Tuesday, May 14th of 2024. In the morning here, the mid to late morning time frame, moving towards the Mississippi River Valley. Again, that's why we're going to have a pretty active day from there eastward as we head through the day Tuesday. And remember, this low is being suppressed by that low pressure system you can see in the far top right corner of your screen there into parts of eastern Canada with the associated cold front that's going to be stretching on down there towards parts of the Great Lakes. Now, what's in question here is this system as we head towards the very end of the week. This one as we head towards Friday, May 17th. You can see on up there in the Midwest, the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley. This GFS ensemble collection is showing the lows, the tracks of these new low pressure systems overall making their way from the southern plains all the way on up there to the Midwest, the Great Lakes. It's questionable whether that's going to happen because the European model, like we were just looking at, and in fact its ensembles show a lot of that precipitation staying closer to the Gulf Coast. So again, what we know right now, we can agree using these European ensembles and their precipitation tracker that very heavy rainfall is likely from parts of Kansas, Oklahoma on down here into East Texas and parts of Louisiana as we head towards Monday, May 13th in the early morning. That will be left over from our storm Sunday night, progressing along the Gulf Coast, and really this whole system is going to be progressing east of the Mississippi River as we head through the day Tuesday. The early week part of this is not really in question. You can see some showers and storms will probably be a little bit heavier and up there in the Midwest, maybe even some stronger showers and storms down here in this pocket closer to the Gulf Coast, Louisiana, southern parts of Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. Again, we'll see some heavier rainfall pushing off the East Coast here as we head towards Wednesday, May 15th. A lot of this will still be ongoing from parts of Florida, even central parts of Florida near Orlando, all the way up to the mid-Atlantic and far eastern parts of New England as we go through the day Wednesday. It will be a washout there, it looks like, even through the day Wednesday. But otherwise, in the Ohio Valley, a lot of the southeast, just some scattered showers still lingering behind our system. Then again, this is when things go into question. We're looking at the precipitation with the European collection here of models. And what you can see is it's looking like from at least the Midwest in scattered fashion down to the more widespread and numerous fashion of storms here from parts of Oklahoma, Texas, and Louisiana. We'll be getting some rain Thursday, May 16th in the morning. But notice how this progresses eastward much further south than where the GFS model and its ensembles were showing the low locations going on up there in the upper Midwest. That's where the GFS tracks this system. That's where its ensembles track this system. Meanwhile, the European ensemble is saying, nope, that's not what's going to happen. In fact, we're going to see the showers and storms stay closer to the southeastern United States as a whole, not as much on up there towards the Great Lakes. So it's to be determined with that back half of the week system for exactly where it's going to go beyond Thursday, really. So as we head towards Friday, that's what's really in big question here. But what you can definitely see using the 3-day precipitation totals on the European collection of models here, the ensemble system, from late Sunday going through early Wednesday and through the midday time frame here, looking like the heaviest rain totals are going to be from East Texas to parts of southern South Carolina and North Florida, where some 2 to 4 inch rainfall totals will get in the mix, some isolated to scattered flooding out of that system. And remember, Tuesday is going to be when a lot of that is going on here, even late Monday in some of these zones closer to the Gulf Coast. You can see as we head through that same time frame, some of the heavier precipitation out of system number 1 that we're pretty confident about this week will be on up there from Kansas to parts of Ohio as well with that secondary strip with some 1 to 2 inch totals and isolated flooding certainly possible there. Here's the late week system that's in question. Again, this is the European system, so it is showing much further south for those heaviest rain totals. And I'm not saying that these ensembles aren't showing rain further north. You can see some of those moderated totals on up there towards parts of the Great Lakes. Just not looking like the low is going to track far on up into the Great Lakes and into parts of eastern Canada necessarily. And a lot of the heaviest totals will once again move along the Gulf Coast according to the European ensembles. Now looking back towards the GFS, this is just the GFS model on its own, not a big collection of ensembles like we've been looking at with averages for the last few minutes here. Again, notice that this is operational run of the GFS is exactly what its ensemble collection is showing. An ensemble collection is literally just a collection of models, and this is just one of the models that goes into the GFS. You can clearly see that we're looking at heavy rainfall indicated really in 3-day fashion here from Thursday going through Saturday over parts of Missouri, Iowa, Wisconsin, the northern Great Lakes region. Some of that could even involve some stronger storms. Again, that's assuming that that northern track occurs. So that's what we're going to have to watch. I'll give you an update on that some point this week to let you know exactly what's going to occur out of that system. But for now, what we've got is some cooler air. Let's track temperatures. You can see 5, 10, 15 degrees below average for temperatures here to kick off our weekend, Saturday, May 11th in the morning, especially over parts of the mid-Atlantic and then back on over there towards the Four Corners region of the United States. That's where temperature anomalies are going to be the most noticeable here. By the time we head towards, say, our Tuesday, May 14th of 2024, we're not really looking at any major temperature anomalies across the country. Very warm in some spots there in California and the West Coast. This area I just circled here in the east, cooler than average Tuesday, but that's just because of precipitation. So we're not really looking at any major temperature patterns as we head throughout this week. But nonetheless, let's track the daily high and low temperatures. Starting with Saturday morning, May 11th, 2024. If you're north of this line here, we're really looking at some decent 40s, even some lower 40s the further north you go and closer to the higher elevations there in the northeastern United States. It's a pretty chilly start to the day for our Saturday. It's 50s and 60s, which have been very far north in recent weeks here with some of our recent systems. They're going to be suppressed closer to the Gulf Coast and especially Texas and Louisiana here to start the day. Saturday afternoon, it's going to be very warm, but again, not really unseasonable for this time of the year. We've got plenty of upper 70s, low 80s spreading northward through parts of the plains. That's going to include places like Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, all the way up there to parts of western Minnesota with at least low 80s there. Meanwhile, we've got contrast with some 50s and 60s for high temperatures here over parts of the eastern Ohio Valley and Northeast. And then looking further on the West Coast, kind of in contrast to what we're seeing in the northeastern United States, Saturday, May 11th here on the West Coast, we're going to have highs in some areas in the 80s and 90s. That could even break a record there or two in Oregon. Here we go towards Sunday, May 12th, 2024 in the morning. Really, if you're south of this line, you're really looking at temperatures at least waking up in the 50s. Let's skip ahead here to the afternoon of our Sunday. Look at this. Plenty of 80s sitting around here in parts of South Dakota, Nebraska, southern Minnesota, parts of Iowa. southwestern Wisconsin and northwestern parts of Illinois. That's where we've got a little cluster of some mid and upper 80s there. Still plenty of 80s going down the Mississippi River Valley and south of this line that I'm drawing there especially. Still looking at nice warm temperatures, but again, nothing unseasonable. They're in parts of New York all the way up to Maine, sitting in the 50s and 60s for afternoon highs once again Sunday. Moving into next week, Monday, May 13th, you can see exactly where our little warm bubble is. 50s extending as far north as parts of southwest Michigan, southern Wisconsin to start the day here on our Monday. Notice closer to the Gulf Coast, we've got lots of mid and upper 60s, some low 70s. Remember, as we go through the day Monday, we're going to notice some precipitation spread on some Gulf Coast zones, so that's going to suppress our temperatures here in the south central region a good bit. That's why we're not seeing widespread 80s and 90s in Texas as we start this week. Notice we've got 70s returning into the upper 70s, in fact, over a lot of the east here as we head towards Monday in the afternoon. Even near 70 as far north as parts of Maine, so rebounding there. A lot of the zones I just circled very warm, especially in Phoenix, Arizona. Obviously, it's been warming up a lot lately now. Tuesday, May 14th of 2024, local pocket here where we're going to be watching some mid and upper 60s trying to start the day there in parts of the mid-Mississippi Valley on up into the Tennessee Valley. Tuesday in the afternoon, we've got this nice area of a lot of 80s here. If you go north and east of that, that's where we've kind of got a lot of the rainfall here. Remember, east of the Mississippi River Valley, that's where we're going to be watching a lot of the precipitation move eastward throughout the day on our Tuesday. As a result of that, we've got lots of 60s and 70s there. Here we go towards Wednesday, May 15th. A lot of cloud cover with a lot of systems all week long here, especially riding the southern quarter of the United States, which really reminds me of an El Nino pattern. 50s and 60s to start the day in a lot of the zone I'm circling, even as far north as central parts of Minnesota. Here we go towards Wednesday, May 15th in the afternoon. Just making sure you know those dates and kind of when we're seeing these temperatures. Remember, even if I'm not mentioning your exact location, you can still use the key on screen. A lot of 80s. This looks to be the warmest day that we're going to see all week in some spots here in a lot of the southeast especially. Nice temperatures, just looking at some different zones circling on up there into parts of South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin. Some 50s and 60s for high temperatures on our Wednesday. Thursday, May 16th, warm bubble continues to lift northward. We're not going to see any huge systems this week bringing abundance of severe weather, and that's good news, even though we've got the warmer bubble with some 50s and 60s progressing north. Notice that we really don't have the huge daytime heating here, though. Plenty of 70s to go around in a lot of areas that would normally be in the 80s for severe weather to get going. South of that line, I just drew lots of 80s Thursday, May 16th, 2024 in the afternoon. That's it with my temperature tracking. Let's just look at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center here, generated on our Friday, May 10th. Looking ahead to May 16th through 20th. Overall, looking like we might have, again, a little bit of that system in the east by the time we head towards late next week. That's the one in question. As that progresses eastward, some warmer anomalies on the east coast. It'll be warmer back on the west coast, but some cooler air might be filtering into the central United States. In terms of that same window and the precipitation outlook, right now, Climate Prediction Center maintaining that late week system into the early next weekend time frame, looking like it will be at least most prominent over the southeastern United States, so a safe bet being played by them. Certainly makes sense, though, especially since they've got a lot of the greens extending even on up towards the Great Lakes. So again, if you want to stay with me, see exactly what transpires out of that late week storm next week, especially and how that goes down. For now, it's been a pleasure to make this content for you. That's it. Have a good weekend, everyone.
One Nation Weather.